And so if you get comfortable and you start to lean back, that's when your lunch is taken, right?
Yep.
I'm always of the mindset that, there's someone out there trying to knock me off.
Yeah.
I operate as if we haven't got $1 in the bank, and just hustle like crazy. And I think that those, and actually, I'll tell you a very dear secret. We raised some venture capital about 2 years ago. And one of the strategies that I had in my head was, hey, I don't want all that capital to come in right now. I don't want it to come in to the bank account so that when the accounts team or the finance team or even me from a psychological perspective opened the bank account and saw all that money there because we sold equity in the business, I didn't want to get comfortable. So when we raise capital, this is a honest to God truth. And we still haven't pulled all the capital in, by the way. But when we raise capital here at Creative Cubes for expansion, I said to our investor, I'll call for it when we need it. But I want to stay lean and mean. And I also want to be of the mindset that we haven't got $1 in the bank. Yeah. And so there's a lot of companies, and I've seen it. I spent a decade, just shy of a decade in the United States. I saw so many companies raise 10, 20, 50, $100 million in a round. And then what happened was they became fat and lazy, not physically, from an operational standpoint. They lost their way because they thought they were comfortable with all this cash in the bank. They completely lost their way. Actually they end up dying, right? The businesses end up dying because they go away from core, they go away from fundamentals, they go away from scrappy, they go away from what got them there in the first place. And they sort of recline back and say, we raised, and actually they have their headlines, they're in front of a exposed brick wall flexing, we just raised 10 million bucks, we just raised 50 million bucks. They forget where they came from. They forget about how they got there in the first place, and they lose their way. And so I didn't, like, those were lessons that came across my path when I was living in LA.
Yeah.
So when we raised capital, we maintained, remember who we were, remember where we came from, remember how we got here, and we operate as if we don't have $1 in the bank, and we scrap and scrap and scrap. And so I think that mindset actually has, on reflection, helped us a little bit in this COVID environment, because while so much has changed, the fundamentals haven't changed. I speak to my father-in-law all the time, who's probably been retired now 15 years. And now he sits on my board of directors. He's an advisor, coach, mentor. He's also the father that I didn't have growing up as a kid, right? And he doesn't understand the technology. He has all the gadgets. He's got the iPad because he saw me with the iPad. He's got the AirPods because he saw me with the AirPods. He's got the iPhone, and he loves all that tech. He's got all the gear but no idea. That said, he was in business for 50 years. And he's like, Toby, you think all this stuff has changed because you've got these fancy tools, and we're now speaking on Zoom, and we've got the iPhone, and we can log into this, and we can hail a Uber via a tap on an icon on the phone. Nothing's changed, man. Nothing's changing. It might look different. You might be flashier. You might get your invoicing out quicker because it's via email instead of Australia Post. Yeah. And funds are in your bank account because you can auto debit as opposed to waiting for a check to show up in the mail, because the fundamentals of business haven't changed. And so I surround myself with people like that so that I stay grounded. And we have a massive road out as an organization, but also as Victorians specifically. And I think we're going to be okay just based on that mindset alone.